Welcome to the Freud's Angels weekly reading, bringing the collective guidance and understanding for this week's energy.
Remember, never give your power up to a reader or a reading. You always have the power of autonomy. Hey, angels, welcome to your weekly reading. We're reading for July 27th through August 2nd. We are in August. Can you fucking believe it? I can't. I'm sorry. I can't. I can't. I just can't.
Okay.
Huh? What?
Just now realizing that means I will have been here for 8 months. And that seems
crazy.
like not possible. I feel like I just got here. Wow. Okay.
That's insane.
Yeah, my brain just did that right now. It's like, whoa, yeah, what is time? I don't know what time is.
Yeah. Well, last year. Oh fuck. Okay. Last week.
It feels like last year. Speaking of Freudian slip indeed. I have aged an entire year in the last week. I'm older, I'm wiser. I'm 1 year older.
Sorry. It's just so funny.
Yeah, that's a good one. I love it. I love it. This is the energy right now.
Oh my God. So last Wednesday was the 23rd of July, and I rolled up here in North Carolina, July 23rd of 2024. So I have technically been here for a year. And can I just tell you the massive amounts of things that have happened since I've been here, both good and it's not that it's bad, but it's just challenging to cope with. I think all of those things, but the things that have been challenging are because of, me refusing to identify, look at, work with, set the boundaries with many things. And that's okay. I needed to be in a certain place. I needed to feel supported in a certain way and safe in a certain way to set the parameters. And I needed to do all that work. So I'm grateful. I've been here. It's been a really wild ride of a year, and I can't really kind of not cope, but comprehend that I've been here for a year. So still processing that. And well, folks, we are in second full week of retrograde. How are we coping? How are things happening? Are we okay? What is going on?
How's our grounding?
Yeah.
How's our self-control?
Yeah, crazy. One of the things that I just, I don't know. I think in some ways I have this sense that this is a turning point for many of us this year, this retrograde.
This big time.
The turning point to looking at what we've done prior, looking at it and going, okay, the last direct season was a little bit messy. It was the retrograde prior, really pushed a lot of things to the surface. It bubbled to the surface. It examined relationships for me and my connections and, and just a lot of hard boundaries, a lot of feeling unsafe because I'm doing things way outside my comfort zone, decision making and the things that I'm doing, the randomness of the creativity projects that I had. I mean, Christ, I started making sourdough bread, for crying out loud. That was not on my list of things to do, which has turned into one of the most therapeutic, wonderful things. And if I think I could have coped with it, I'd turn it into a thing, but I can't and I won't, because I won't put the pressure on the thing that I love in order to perform for me in a way that I don't want it to perform. Everybody's
That's
like, "Oh, you should turn it
to be doing. It's making you feel good." That's it.
Everybody's like, "You should turn it into a business." I'm like, no, I shouldn't, and no, I'm not, because
enjoy it. Thank you. I'm allowed to just enjoy things I do,
because I don't have to. If I don't want to do it, I don't do it. But if I have a business, I have to in order to make money at it, right? I don't want to put that pressure on the thing I love to do. It's not worth it. It's more fun for me to just get the creativity out of it. And yes, I do send it to friends. Friends pay me a little for supplies and shipping, and they get it, and that's perfect. It's not that I'm selling it as a business. I'm just they're paying for my dough therapy, basically.
Yeah, I love that dough therapy because it's true. I mean, I didn't ruin baking for me, but how many cupcakes do we see me baking now, like with creativity, because I did it as a job and was like, wow, I fucking killed the fun in this one right now. And then
Right.
you get the pressure because of that, right? Like every time I start to do something, people are like, oh my God. And then they remind me. And then it's like, and then I have to have boundaries and say no. And so maybe we just don't do it.
Yeah. 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 So I've even, and what's funny is that I've learned, and it's funny because I have learned that it has been easy for me to talk about it and to put it out and to offer it and for it to be part of my life because there was no pressure to make money. And one of the emails I sent out to my other email list recently was about like how maybe, just maybe, I take the pressure off the thing that I'm creating in my business and not have it be about money and allow it to flower in the way that it is and see how easy it is for me to talk about it. I was like, well, that makes
What
too
a
much sense.
concept. I have applied it different places. How could it also work here? What?
Yeah. Because
Across the board this works?
we're not taught that because we're so desperate to make, people tell us we have to be in business for ourselves or we have to quit our jobs and whatever. And it's like, no, I don't want to quit my job. I'm like, my job is my job and it gives me the foundation, security, and the privilege to do the other things I want to do. And so right now it works for me, maybe later not, but right now it works. And it's funny because I'm going to go on a tangent a little, sorry guys, but I just, in the hollow bone journey, y'all know that I facilitate teaching that. We have been creating each of us team leaders have been creating our own individual tracks. And I just created mine. Well, I didn't just, it's been brewing for over a year because I talked about this on the podcast at least a year ago. And I rolled it out on the 11th, I think Friday, I think it was, not last Friday, the Friday before, and it was so effortless, right? It wasn't, I didn't have to go through this whole thing of like, I didn't have to prove its worth. I didn't have to prove its validity. I shared what it was about. I mean, I totally could have talked about it for hours. And everybody was like, oh my God, it's like, you just changed. I'm like, well, when you love, when it's in your heart that you want to share this and help people with it, it really doesn't matter what else happens. You share it and the people that are connected to it will take it and the people that aren't won't. And that's fine. And it doesn't mean they won't come later and feel connected to it. But to roll it out without expectation. Like I have no expectation. I asked for like 6 or 7 students, but for the universe, I'm like, okay, I can 6 or 7 would be great. But whatever happens will happen. And I'm okay with that. And I am totally like, it is there and it will be what it needs to be for the people that need it. And I don't
launch, right? Like it's just gonna get better from there.
Push the boat out and said, there it is. And if you need it, there it is. And I talk about it, on this, when we were at the event that we were at, and it's for the hollow bone journey. And, I was like, this is amazing. And eventually it will come to people who don't want to take the hollow bone journey outside of it. It will come to that because I feel people, they're not interested in that part of it. And so how do I take this and bring this to people who are just, non-HBJ people? And because I think it's important to the world, not just in the scope of what we do within that. And so I really, really, really think that sometimes when we feel disconnected with the things that we need to do, it's because somebody told us we have to do it.
No, 10,000%. Because our inner compass is always going to lead us to what is ours.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm finding, and this year, like I said, I think, I don't remember if we just said it or if we said it on the last recording.
What is time?
This is a lot for me, this retrograde. But it's that idea of making decisions about where we're headed. It's the shift, it's a change, because Leo is all about themselves. No offense to any Leo, but you are the sun. You are the empowerment of the belief in self, right? The belief in who you are and the conviction of who you are. And I think that this retrograde in Leo, even though it's in different houses for different of us, we can look at the Leo archetype and say, ooh, what is my identity? What is my cosmic identity? And not finding labels for it, but releasing the labels that were given or that you put on yourself or needed to. And I think a lot of that is so much about the reality of the world around us, the inner reality of how we're coping with it, and the realization that comes in between those two, that we're tired of living false narratives. We're tired of living false identities, things that don't speak to us, and things, and not in a negative way, but in a way of like, oh, I see why that was so challenging, because it wasn't true to me. It wasn't connected to me. And I think, we're going to be given this opportunity to really decide for ourselves what it is we want and create safety around it, right? Because every time we do that, I know I go, my being goes into the safe protecting mode. It wants to stick in and stay in the boxes because it knows what is in those boxes. It doesn't want to go into a new box because there could be spiders in that box and it doesn't like spiders. And so like there could be a lot of things and scary things. And so it's about making that decision and understanding and the awareness in this retrograde. And when it goes direct, then begin to create that safety around being what it is in our heart we know we want to be. And that's how we get through that point. And so, sorry, my train left the station without my thought. Yeah. So
it always makes me think of Inside Out, which everybody knows is one of my very favorite movies. And the train of thought goes off the tracks. Like it just is, we watch it happen. We're like, oh shit.
Nothing contained. But think about how you showing up. Think about if you could, it's scary to think about taking all of the restrictions off of what you do. But in creating safety and in creating a moment where you feel safe, or the spaces you feel safe and dreaming and doing those things, what doesn't feel good to you? What part doesn't feel good? And it doesn't have to be negative. It doesn't have to be like you're being pressured. Friends, I've been doing the Hollow Bone Journey or the Healing Angel Protocol for many years now. Many, many years. I have taught levels 1 through 3 for, 3-4 years now. I'm in a level 1 right now because a friend wanted her daughter to take it. And so I was like, sure, I'll throw together a level 1, no problem. In teaching this has made me realize my energy has shifted out of this. And it doesn't mean I will never teach it again, but if I had a choice, I wouldn't. I wouldn't, not because I don't align with it, but because my energy has shifted and I am moving to the next phase of what I'm doing. And, in hindsight, I think a lot of that made me afraid because the director and the channeler of the Hollow Bone Journey is a very good friend of mine. And so there was a part of me that was really afraid that I'd lose the friendship because I didn't want to necessarily teach levels 1 through 3, right? That I was struggling with being that and doing that. And I think I figured out that I think the biggest fear is that I would lose that connection because a connection is important to me. And so, but I was beginning to not be willing to do it just to keep the connection if that was what it had to be. And of course, as I talked and talked with that person and worked it out and figured it out, it was like, and almost got the permission I needed to not be a part of the HBJ, and that the connection wouldn't be lost even if I wasn't doing it. Like
it's not transactional,
right?
It doesn't.
But the whole life has been that way, right? The whole life, and you don't want to disappoint. I don't want to disappoint people. That's who I am. I don't want to disappoint people, even though I will, but I don't want to. I don't want, and so it's hard for me to cope with that. But I think in sharing that and in getting the confirmation and the reassurance of it, that it's given me this new sense of like, where else is my energy taking me? At what point? It doesn't mean I'll leave HBJ, but what I was doing before won't be the thing I'm doing. The first 3 levels is just not in my heart to teach them anymore.
And that's evolution. Like that's evolution, and we have to allow it, right? Like when we're sticking to the like, well, this is where I started, right? Like then so I must always have one foot over there. It's like when you imagine that, there comes my imagery. When you imagine keeping one foot in one, and you're trying to stretch, eventually this is not going to work out, right? Like we're pulling muscles because we're 46, right?
Yeah.
Like we can't stretch that far. We're going to have to let ourselves, move that foot out of that first place. And yeah, it's difficult because we have a lot of messaging around that. I mean, I still hear, don't forget where you came from. It's like,
Oh God.
oh, trust
Yeah.
me, I know where I came from. I have not forgotten, and I'm not trying to go back. And I'm sorry if that hurt your feelings, but I will never forget where I came from. But I don't have to honor that person by being that person forever.
Right. Staying stuck.
Yeah, like no, thank you.
Yeah.
So
I'll be
yeah.
teaching the advanced levels in HBJ and specifically mine. And after this one, I think a lot of people want to go back to the business. And so I'll do that. It's not a big deal, but
Yeah, it's all good. We're flowing.
we're evolving. It's evolution. So when you think about this retrograde and you're thinking you're having this like kind of whatever time in your life you are crisis, whether it's midlife, late life, early life crisis, it's not about that. You're being asked to witness and see the parts that were kind of superimposed over you of what you need to do and how you do it and the way you should do it. And sometimes it feels like a heavy coat that you have to carry. And when you have more than one, you can barely move. And that's sometimes why things don't move, is because you're wearing things that aren't fitting or aren't appropriate. So use
We
this
are
retrograde.
so metaphorical today. It's
I know.
fantastic. We're putting on coats. We're stretching. I'm very excited to record the podcast, whatever it's going to be.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And when you were saying, let's go with the visual, I'm like, where's your chart that you used to have when we used to do Earth Angels? Like, where's your chart? Like you used to have that chart.
On I remember it, oh God, that flimsy, like, what do they call easel? I
Yes.
remember knocking it over and was just like, what the fuck am I doing here? But yeah. Oh, that's a blast from the past. Talk about evolution.
Yeah.
Oh my God, with
We're
the
doing
like
it, girl. We're doing
present
it.
it, yeah, like present it as a professor would. Like, that's not even me.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It was so funny. I was like, where's the whiteboard? Show us, Vanessa. Show us.
Actually, I mean, I do have a whiteboard. It's not that I don't have one and it's got great things on it, but I no longer need the prop. Like, just look at the prop.
Oh my God.
I love this. We are unhinged today.
I love
Welcome.
it. So what are the mermaids saying?
Well, speaking of unhinged as a descriptor, we've got the feelings card that came out. And the feelings card is very dark in color. She's got one hand over her head, one hand behind her. Her hair's kind of swirling around. She's looking over her shoulder. And I feel like at first glance, it could have like a dark depth feeling. But I think what I'm feeling today when I look at it is, just literally digging deeper into what feelings are. I talk about it all the time in sessions, and it's come up a lot. I actually, speaking of props, had to start creating, and it was very hard for me to do it because it felt very clinical, to create like feelings words lists, because I have some people who don't have the vocabulary that they need. They've never been taught the difference even between, certain emotions, and they'll ask me like, well, how's that different from blank? And I'm like, oh, like, okay, we really need to get into some feelings words. And so I feel like that's what the card is asking us, to dig deeper into what our feelings are right now, to not be on surface level with blanket statements and maybe even what people tell you you're supposed to feel, right? So if something happens and you feel shame, you know, sometimes we're feeling shame because of somebody else's directive. And if we sit with it, we might find that the shame we're feeling is the shame of disappointing that person, but we're not actually ashamed of the thing that we've done, because the thing that we've done aligned with us a little bit more. And we can only do that if we sit in it and be able to sift through what's happening. Like, oh, okay, this shame is actually cloaked in like disappointment and fear of conflict and, all of that kind of stuff. So maybe I'm not actually only feeling shame, right? Like, and being able to dig down into into the depths of those feelings. And people are often doing this in the pause, when I'm teaching them the pause of when they feel triggered into some sort of emotion that feels uncomfortable. We're stopping, if hopefully we can, and being able to just ask ourselves, and I call it like a drill down. Just ask yourself why a bunch of times, and don't be satisfied with things that feel very easy, because that's not going to be the answer. It's going to have to go deep, 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 and you'll eventually get to a place where it feels more root, and you'll know that it's more root, because it will apply to more things in your life and more
Yeah.
things than what's happening. So I feel like that's what this card is asking us to do, is to be a little bit more accurate with what we're feeling, um, in the moments. And personally, for me, I feel less attacked by this card than the one from last week, because I do feel like that's the work that I'm trying to do personally myself, is to be
Yeah.
able to stay off the surface, and be deeper, and be able to dig into where the roots of some of my feelings come from. And thankfully, having to have a new therapist has been triggering in a good way, this, because when you've worked with somebody for a really long time prior, you don't dip into some of the same stuff over and over, and so having to sort through things in a new way with a new person, all of the things that you think you've talked about before, wowza.
Yeah.
Right? Like, some things were coming up, and I was like, oh God, I have a 9-year-old daughter, and that was me at 9. And like, I was just like, holy shit, different feelings were coming up. There were feelings that came up the last time that I tried to process that, yeah, I did process through them. And I'm not, I'm not discovering that I didn't actually do it. I'm just discovering a new layer that's safe for me to handle right now, and
Mhm.
can bring me to better understanding of myself, so that some of the behaviors that come out, I'm accurately diagnosing myself in terms of feelings.
Yeah.
Right? I want to be more accurate of what's happening right now, versus surface level stuff, or things that are not the root cause of where my behavior is coming from.
Right.
So yeah, like, it's a good reflective card. It's not, I don't think it's I don't think it's coming here to attack us. It's coming here to help us and hold us.
No, and I think too is that your example is super, super, super important, because a lot of times, especially in the energy world and when I work with people, they're like, why am I here again? Why am I going through this again? And I'm like, and a lot of times, and what you said was absolutely perfect, of it's the levels of safety that you feel, you will process that amount. And then at some point, there is a point where, like, it feels like we're down to the root of the feeling, of the situation, of the moment, in a sense of we've kind of begun to prune it back, so it's not as overwhelming and effective. But to get to the root of it, there's a new level of safety that is required in order to do that, and your being, your existence won't go into it unless it feels safe enough to do so. And so I
Mhm.
think that that's, when people feel like I've healed this, and it's like, no, friend, you have, but there's a new layer of it that exists underneath that, that point. It's like trying to heal a tree. You keep cutting it back until you find the place where it is rotten. And then that's when you can begin to allow it to grow and thrive. So
Mhm.
everything is important in its time, but also going into that. And when you said, can I just tell you, when you said you were talking about creating a list of like feelings and groups and whatever, my therapist just put on her new office a periodic table of feelings.
Oh, I have my feelings wheel. If you walk into my house, the first thing you see is a feelings wheel on the wall, like it's a
Yeah.
thing.
And it was so cool because I'm like, oh my God, what is that? She's like, it's a periodic table of feelings. And
Beautiful.
the visual was really cool. And I was like, oh my
Beautiful.
gosh, that is awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, because I too have a problem. We when we're not taught to identify our feelings young, or know what they are, or
Mhm.
develop any type of emotional maturity, it's hard because we're like, I just feel frustrated. Do you feel frustrated? Are you angry? Or are you hurt? Or, and it's like, I don't know. It all feels the same in my body.
Oh, 100%. I'm
It-
upset. Like,
yeah.
yeah, obviously, like that's your
Yeah.
outward
Yeah.
expression of what you're feeling on the inside. But what are you feeling on the inside that's making you upset? I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
okay, take a pause and
Yeah.
let's think about it. It could literally be that you're tired. And
Yeah.
that's okay too. But
We're
it could
hungry.
also be, yeah, exactly, that this is triggering my abandonment wound, right? Like right now I feel unsupported.
Yeah.
That is very different than just being upset or, feeling alone. A lot of times people will say that, and alone and supported are two different things sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a whole deal. But yeah, I was not thrilled. I was like, this feels very clinical, but I was like, it's not clinical. You just do it. It's important.
Yeah.
You're helping.
Yes. It's
It'll
sharing of
work.
wisdom, sharing
Yeah.
knowledge to people that haven't accessed it before. And it's a gold mine. I guarantee a lot of therapists would probably could use some of that because some of them don't even know.
Yeah,
I've had
well, I
them.
used to have them, and like I just hated them because it was like, we'd be in group and like rehab with these guys who are just trying to like survive their day, and I'm handing them a handout of like, pick what feeling you're feeling, and they're like, Jesus Christ, like from this piece of paper, like, but I think it's it is important because the reason why I need to hand out a piece of paper is because it's not accessible
Yeah.
otherwise.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mm. So
Absolutely.
what are we surrendering while we're getting into our feels?
This is why I cackled when you told me the cards. So the surrender card this week is surrender frustration. Frustration doesn't open any doors. The key to resolving a dilemma or dissolving a block is to take a breath, center yourself, and regroup so you may approach the situation more calmly.
So your card attacked me this week, not my own. Okay.
Apparently, apparently they're attacking both of us because
Mm.
yeah, and I get it. Well, and when we're in frustration, it's like it's I saw something somewhere about how, certain emotions and certain feelings, and you'll probably know this better than I will, Vanessa can explain it far better than I can. But like when we have certain emotions and we're in that state, like parts of our brain go offline.
Mhm.
And so
100%.
and so like when we're in frustration, there's parts of our brain that go away. Like that doesn't go away, but we stop connecting to it
Mhm.
because we're in a state of different emotion.
We
And
have to
so
use
it's like,
all of our energy toward the thing because we've now identified it, supposedly.
yeah. Yeah. Even though
And frustration, if we're
Mhm.
frustrated, it means we should do more,
Yeah,
right? Because the thing is not working, so we should make it work. Like,
yeah.
whoa,
Run
dial
away.
that back.
So the idea and the reason for taking a breath and centering yourself and kind of regrouping is to allow the energy to come back to the parts of our brain that have cognitive function of like, what is the next step? What do I do with this? And I
Mhm.
tell you, friends, it's not easy. But when I did life purpose divination, when I was teaching that way long ago, one of the things we used, the visual we used was to dive under it, to dive under like a wave. Like, so you see the frustration, dive under it, and let's look up from underneath it to see it for what it is. Kind of almost like stepping back, neutral observer, looking at it as I look at it as a movie sometimes, like myself in a
Mhm.
movie, and I'm like, I don't know that I like this movie. But giving yourself a chance to get out of the emotion. And it's not that we're not feeling it or disassociating, is that
Mhm.
we're kind of not in the whirlwind of it. Like it's still happening, but we're not in the center of the tornado, and we're getting to see the perspective around it. And that's what the breath and the regroup and then like, okay, breathe, and checking in with the self and checking in with, like, if you do parts work, the parts that are activated and what they're feeling. And so that's the purpose of it. And I just think, of course, it goes along so perfectly with that card. I don't know if we could have picked two better cards that
Well,
go together.
I mean, even now I'm like, oh my God, like frustration's also an umbrella. Like, I mean, and this is what I love. This is why I love my work because I'm never bored with it ever. Like,
Yeah.
I just think it's fascinating how brains work and how emotions work. But, as you were describing frustration, I was applying it to the different parts of my life. And I'm like, oh my God, there are still different emotions underneath my frustration. Right. So, like, my frustration with, relationships is different than my frustration with my work. Like if I'm frustrated or which is different from my frustration surrounding finances, right? So if I'm frustrated with my finances, underneath that is me and my money beliefs and me and my traumas there and everything like that. And why I haven't gotten a hold of them is creating frustration, right? And it's like, well, dang, okay. And same, relationship stuff. Like, well, I'm frustrated because I need to know this or I need to know that. Like, no, no, no. Underneath all of that frustration is your abandonment wounds, is, you're feeling like, worthiness stuff. Like those are other things that are underneath there. And those are really important feelings. And it's not going to be one. And I feel like that's something that is really important for people to know. And as I'm saying it, I'm like, God, I say it in sessions all the time, but like, do I say it out loud here? It is hardly ever just one feeling that you're feeling that you have to attack, right? Like, it's like a lot usually going on, and it's okay. It's simultaneous, and some of them are in higher levels than others, but that's what giving that pause and allowing yourself to, understand that first layer, which may be frustration. Okay, I'm frustrated. Something's not working the way that I want it to, but what is the actual issue that makes this so freaking urgent that frustration came in and I can't just wait it out, right? Like, or I can't just let it happen. So yeah, I'm in a whole place right now. So I'm just gonna stop talking and I'll be rabbit holing that later.
Yeah. It's okay. It's perfect. It's perfect. Okay. So our money card, I'm surrounded by positive people. And I would, some people don't like the word positive, but I would say supportive,
Yeah.
enlightened, open-minded, whatever word that feels good for you this week. Use it. Yes. Yeah. We hope you have a good week. Sorry if you can't hear me. My cat has entered the chat and she has decided to take over my microphone space. So I'm really having to
We can hear you, or I can hear you. I don't know what the recording sounds like, but I
I
can
don't know
hear
what
you.
the rest of the world hears. But we love you and keep on keeping on. We are, as of Sunday, we are 9 days out of being done with Mercury, and not as a bad thing, but as a thing of like, ooh, that's challenging. So we love you guys. See you next week.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. We hope we gave you something to support your journey.
Check out our Facebook or Instagram page to connect with us.
Have a great week.